For a guy who never wrote anything down, Socrates had a lot to say. What Socrates liked most was to pose questions to people who had developed some knowledge in an area, only to tear apart their answers and force them to try even harder to find a better answer. This is the Socratic method of teaching. Unfortunately, Socrates was accused of introducing new gods and not believing in the accepted gods because he spoke of a divine voice inside him. He was condemned to death, drinking hemlock in front of his friends because he valued the truth and his conscience more than his life. Plato was a student of Socrates who wrote scripts that helped to explain the important idea that ethics meant good character. To know the difference between what was right or wrong, or good or bad, required a sense of justice. Is it wrong to make a lot of money? Well, no, if done so honestly and without harming others. But what if one steals from others? Knowing that stealing is unjust helps, but stealing may mean different things to different people. Think of the interest rates on credit cards. Banks make a lot of money on credit cards. Is this stealing? After all, people use credit cards because they need something they can't afford today. If they can't pay the debt soon, then the bank charges a really high interest on the unpaid balance. The bank knows they might not be able to pay the balance on the card every month, but still they charge interest that is maybe 3 times higher than a regular loan, and they might even extend the card's line of credit. Again, is this stealing? The bank makes lots of money and the person sinks further into debt. Not everyone will agree that this is stealing, but is it just? Plato tries to show what the different kinds of good are that lead to justice. The first kind of good belongs to such things as joy and harmless pleasures, things that are welcome for their own sake, regardless of the consequences. The second kind of good belongs to such things as knowledge and health, which are desired for their own sake and for the sake of their consequences. The third kind of good belongs to such things as wealth and physical prowess, chosen not only for their own sake, but because they have favorable consequences. What's the best kind of good? The second kind of good is the best kind of good because it aligns the soul with justice, and that is good for the soul in and of itself. Plato's ethics were known as virtue ethics, but Plato had strict moral ideals. He believed that to be happy, one must be virtuous, and that individual desires and plans must be suppressed in favor of community life. Aristotle believed that being in harmony with nature, the good life, brought about happiness. Aristotle believed in the necessity of both inquiry and action, and a person must use reason to determine the best course of action, and then practice the skills which brought about well-being. Aristotle's ideal, then, was pleasant philosophizing and noble public service, activities that when carried out today would mean one would need multiple credit cards to buy stuff because money would be in short supply.